Hello everyone, my name is Piyush Sachdeva and welcome to another video in the series Namaste Google Cloud where I will be publishing GCP videos every week. In this video, I will do a deep dive into managed instance groups, instance templates, and how to use them for building highly available and fault tolerant architecture. Please watch the complete video as we will be doing some knowledge checks at the end with some sample exam questions if you are planning for Associate Cloud Engineer certification. If you are new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button below and the bell icon to get notified about all my upcoming videos. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, what exactly are the managed instance groups? An instance group is a collection of virtual machine instances that you can manage as a single entity. For example, MIG1 is a managed instance group having 5 instances. To create a managed instance group, you would first have to create an instance template, which would define the VM configuration like name, machine details, OS image, security, disk, firewall, networking, and so on. Instant templates are designed to create instances with identical configuration which scale based on the demand. This is also known as auto scaling. Let's say you set the auto scaling on CPU utilization at 60% threshold. So when CPU utilization for any of the VM goes above 60%, a new VM will be added to the managed instance group based on the instance templates configuration. When the CPU utilization goes below 60%, the newly added VM will be deleted from the instance group. Along with the auto scaling, it has some additional benefits as well, such as high availability. If a VM in the group crashes or deleted or stopped accidentally, then managed instance group automatically recreates the VM using the instance template. The next one is fault tolerance. You can choose from regional or multi-zone deployment that protects the application against zone failure. Your application will still be serving traffic from the remaining available zone with the help of load balancers. You can set health checks on the VM on a specific port that recreates the VM if a certain number of consecutive health check fails. Now that we have seen what exactly is a managed group instance and what are the benefits of using it, let's go ahead to our Cloud Console and provision one managed instance group. So I'm logged into my Google Cloud Console and I'll search over here instance groups. The first result over here, I'll click, and then as it says on the screen, create instance group, I'll hit over this icon. Then I'll enter some basic details. Let's give it a name, test instance group, and then create an instance template. If you already have created an instance template, it will be appear over here as a drop down list, but we don't have anything. That is why it is asking us to create a new instance template. So I'll click over here and again I'll give it a name, test instance template. You could optionally add labels. So consider this as the image which has all the configuration required to provision an instance, so that when one of the instance in your managed instance group goes down, the another one will be provisioned as an identical copy of the previous one. And this template will make sure that all the instances within a managed instance group will have the identical configuration. I'll just select the series as E2 and give the machine type as E2 micro. I'll keep all the options as default and allow HTTP and HTTPS traffic. And I'll hit save and continue. So my instance template is created. Now I have the option to provision this in single zone or multiple zone for high availability and redundancy. So for this demo purpose, I'm going to create this in a single zone. If you select multiple zones from here, it will give you an option to provision the instance in multiple zones. So let's say you have 3 zones and the target distribution shape is even, then it will provision 3 instances in 3 different zones for high availability and redundancy, right? But for this demo purpose, let's select single zone and our instances will be provisioned in US Central 1A. Then there is an auto scaling mode to automatically add or remove the instances to the group based on the matrix threshold that we specify. So let's say we select this option, add or remove instances to the group, minimum number of instances as 1, and let's put maximum number of instances as 3. So whenever there is a CPU utilization greater than 600, it will scale out and add one more instance if the number of instances are less than 3. Then we have cooldown period. Cooldown period is the time it would take for you to initialize from boot time until it is ready to serve the traffic. Sometimes a virtual machine takes time to boot up and install all the prerequisite softwares and packages. So during that time, if the autoscale detects that your instance is not up, it will try to spin up one more instance. So this is not what we want. So let's say our VM takes 1 minute of time to provision. So we'll put cooldown period as 1 so that only after this particular period it will try to add one more instance if it is not available. Then we have scaling controls. Scaling controls will set some limit for scaling the group. Then we have auto healing. It provides the ability for VM to auto heal. So we could just set health checks based on a protocol. Let's go ahead and create a health check. Let's call it test health check on HTTP port. So it will try to reach out the server on port 80 based on this criteria that we have set. So it will check after every 5 seconds and it will time out in 5 seconds if it doesn't get the reply. Healthy threshold is 2. That means 2 consecutive success will result in a healthy threshold and 2 consecutive failure will result in an unhealthy threshold. Whenever it will find that there are 2 unhealthy consecutive failures, then it will report the health check status as failed and it will just restart the VM to auto heal from the failure or the crash that it might have. Right, so I'll click over here, save. Okay, initial delay is 300 seconds. This is similar to cooldown period. It just cooldown period is for provisioning new instances as part of the auto scaling group, but this initial delay will wait for 300 seconds to perform first health check. Right, so you could just update this number based on your use case. Okay, and there'll be some advanced configuration over here. So this configuration is only available when we are not using auto scaling, but because we are using, this is disabled. These were all the details that we have to enter. So there are 3 type of instance groups. We have selected the first one, which is the managed instance group for stateless applications. This is ideal in case when you are serving the stateless and batch processing data. Then there are 2 other. The second one is stateful managed instance group that have persistent data or configuration such as database or legacy application. And then we have unmanaged instance group. Unmanaged instance group, you have to manually manage those VM and load balance them. All right, so these were the 3 types and we have already entered all the details. So let's go over here and hit create. So I'll pause the video for a few minutes over here and then I'll come back because it will take some time to provision all 3 VMs. Okay, so it says instances is 1. That means it has provisioned 1 instances so far because that was the minimum number of instances that it should have. Let's open this in a new tab and see what it has done so far. So the instance was created. So if I click over that instance, you will see the same configuration that we set as part of the instance template. You see E2 micro and US Central 1A. That's what we have selected and rest of the options were default except HTTP and HTTPS traffic, which we enabled explicitly. If you hit refresh, it says auto scaling is on with target CPU utilization as 60%. Now click over here. If you want to see the details that we have configured for this particular managed instance group, you click over here, details, and over here you will see the auto scaling. Minimum number of instances 1, maximum is 3. Currently it has 1 instance, and it will add more instance when the CPU utilization will reach 60%. It will wait for 60 seconds before checking the CPU utilization. Auto healing health check was set 300 seconds as initial delay. So this is the time it will wait as well. And then you can check monitoring and errors from here. So it says current minimum, current maximum, and then we don't have much CPU utilization right now. That is why there isn't much data over here, and basically all the details you could see from here. Then if there is some auto scaling errors, it will report over here. So if you want to, once the servers are provisioned as part of managed instance group, you could go ahead and edit the managed instance group configuration. Like you could change the minimum number of instances from 1 to 2, so that it'll always have at least 2 instances running for high availability. And you could spread that across multiple zones. Instead of CPU utilization as a threshold, you could specify based on a schedule as well. Let's add the minimum number of instances as 2. Lower the initial delay to 50 seconds. Okay, and hit save. Now you'll see over here it says minimum as 2 and maximum as 3, and it will try to add one more instance. So I'll go back and hit refresh over here. Now it says instances are 2 as part of this particular MIG. So now you'll see 2 instances. One is this one, another one is this one. This is still getting created. So now you see, even though the instances are 2, still the health check status is showing as unhealthy. It is because we have not created the firewall rule which allows the health check to be performed. So we'll be seeing firewall rules later in the playlist, probably in the networking section of this course. So for now, just try to understand the concept behind it. So now our test IG, which is a managed instance group, has 2 instances that was provisioned from an instance template. So the process is like this. You create the instance template which has all the details like CPU, machine type, machine image, and all those things. And from that instance template, you create managed instance group which will have certain number of VMs running. So it will provision those number of VM for you. Let's say you have selected it as 3. So it will create 3 VMs for you, and auto scaling will keep checking the CPU utilization on these servers. And whenever it finds out the threshold is greater than whatever you have set, let's say you did set it greater than 60%, then it will try to add more VM to it if the maximum number is set as 4, right? And whenever the CPU utilization goes less than 60, then it will delete the VM from the managed instance group, right? So this is how managed instance group work, and this is how you would attain high availability, auto scaling, and auto healing capabilities. So let's now go to instance templates over here, and this is the instance template that we have created. So once you have created the instance template, there is no option to edit. You see, we cannot edit the instance template once it is created. We could edit the managed instance group to use a new instance template, and we can just replace this one with the newer one, but we cannot edit it. Now you could also create new VM directly from this particular instance template. If you don't want that VM to be part of an instance group, you could just click over here, provide basic details like name, description, and it will auto populate the rest of the details from the instance template, like E2 micro is the machine type that we selected, and it'll have HTTP and HTTPS enabled by default. Second option, you could create a similar instance template from this one. So it will be like updating a newer version of this particular instance template. You could do that as well, right? So this is a new instance template with name as test IT1. The earlier one was test IT, and you could just make your changes from here. Let's say instead of E2 micro, I would want to use E2 small. So I'll just click over here and hit on create. So this will create a new instance template for me. So I'll wait for it to be provisioned. Now I go back to my instance group, which is over here, and hit over this particular group, click at it, and I can just update the instant template from test it to test it 1 and then save it. Okay, so you see it has both the templates attached to it. That means the existing VMs will not be replaced automatically with the new template, but when there are new VMs added to this MIG, then only the new template will be used. So if you don't want that and you want instantly replace your VMs, so let's go ahead over here and delete the instances. Enter delete, says instances from group deleted. Now let's go back, and it has provisioned two new instances, you see. Okay, so these two instances were deleted and these two instances just got provisioned, and the new instances using test it 1 as the template. So the earlier template was removed. So let's go back to VM instances over here, and you will see one instance is already running and the other one is still in progress. It's being provisioned and soon will be running. And now if you see this VM, let's go ahead inside the VM, and over here the instance template is the newer one. That means the machine type is E2 small. This is the change that we did as part of the template update. We didn't actually updated the template, but we created a new template and replaced the template in the managed instance group. And it's the time for our knowledge checks. Let's say you have an application that is running as part of managed instance group. The requirement is that it should be running all the time, but only a single VM should run. What should be the minimum and maximum number of instances you would set as part of auto scaling setup? The next question is, you need to create an auto scaling managed instance group for an HTTPS based web application, and you want to make sure that unhealthy VMs are recreated automatically. What should you do as part of this setup? And the last one is how to make sure deployments in managed instance group should not result in the service unavailability and your user should not be impacted. So if you know the answer of these questions, then please let me know in the comment section below, or if you have any doubts or difficulty in understanding any of the topics that we have discussed today, then also feel free to drop a comment and I'll be more than happy to get back to you. That's it for this video, guys. I hope this video was somewhat beneficial to you and you would have learned something out of it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe the channel if you want to get notified about all my upcoming videos. I will see you soon with the next video. Thank you very much for watching and have a good day, guys.